How's everybody doing today? Thank you so much for checking out this video. My name is Stephen Croft. I'm a co-founder at Hackinon's Code School for Kids. Programming is all about making something simple, doing some complex things in the easiest and lightest way possible. We're gonna do the opposite. This is as difficult as possible. So in Python, there is a method or function called print. It takes a single parameter that is just a string. Actually, it takes a lot of parameters, but in the easiest way possible, it takes a simple single parameter, and when we run that code, it then displays or prints that content out to the screen. Let's see if we can make this a little bit more tedious to do. So I'm gonna show you 3 ways, 3 levels of difficulty in which you can make the print statement even harder to execute. The first level is pretty easy. It's just 2 lines of code. So we went from 1 line of code to 2. We're gonna import the system library. We're then gonna use a method or a class standard out, and we're gonna fire the write method. We're gonna pass in a parameter, which is the word that we want to write to the console. When we run this, it then writes that to the console. It does the printing stuff for us. That's level 1. Level 2, we make it a little bit more difficult. It's getting a little ridiculous. We're still using that system library, but we're gonna create a function. We went ahead and created a function called simpPrint that takes a single parameter. This is the string that we want to print out to the console. We then create an if statement that checks to see whether or not the data type or the value that you've passed in is not none. In other programming languages, this is called null, but in Python, it's called none. So as long as you did pass in a string or some sort of a data type into the parameter, then we can do a sys.standardout.write and then just write out the parameter that you passed in. Else, we're gonna just tell the whole world that you broke it. You done did broke it, you should quit programming forever. Just kidding, we're just gonna, you broke it. And then we fire that function and pass in the parameter of the string that we want to write to the console. We run it and boom, easy, it writes it to the console. All right, let's get truly mad now. All right, so this is absolutely ridiculous. We are still using that system library, but this time we're gonna create our own class called simpPrint. Then we initialize this class and pass in a single parameter that is the string that we want to print. Then we go ahead and just, save it as part of that class. Then we're gonna create a function that is part of this class that's called print this. We're gonna go ahead and open a file. And if that file has not been created, the open in the A method or the A way, go ahead and creates that file for us. If you want to learn more about opening files in Python, go ahead and sign up for Hackinon's. Just go to hackinons.com. You can sign up for a trial and you get tons of incredible content there. Then we're going to go ahead and write to that file, that parameter that we passed into this function. And then because we opened the file, we've got to close the file. Now we want to go ahead and read from that file. So we're going to go ahead and open it back up because we closed it. You don't need, obviously this step just don't do line 11 and you won't need to do line 13. But in any case, then we're going to go ahead and read the contents of that file and pass it into this variable. Then we're going to create a empty list that is a list of letters. That's right, you guessed it. We're going to go ahead and cycle through every single thing, every single letter that is in the parameter that we created when we called this function and go ahead and append it onto that list. So now we have a list of individual letters. Then we're gonna go ahead and call the truncate function to clear the file. So we're gonna truncate, we're gonna shrink the file down to a single position. The position that we're shrinking it to is in the 0 position, so we're just gonna erase the whole file. And because we opened it, we've gotta close it here on line 23. Then we're gonna take that list of letters and we're gonna join them all back together using a non-delimiter. So there are going to be no spaces between each element in the list. And we're gonna store it in a new variable called newString. Then we're gonna go ahead and write that new string out to the console. This is not done. We've done all this, but we haven't actually told the computer to do it. So down here, we went ahead and created a new object from that class called newWord. Then we passed in the parameter of easy, and then we fired the print this function that is part of the new word class. Let's go ahead and run it, and it does exactly what print does. All right, hopefully you enjoyed that. If not, you can not dislike the video. That button just doesn't exist. Or please subscribe to the channel. We're gonna have more of this content coming. And if you figured out a more convoluted, a more difficult way to do this, please drop it in the comments. I would love to see it. And we'll see you in the next one.